I'm back again. This year, my school gave me the opportunity to go to a new country once again. This time, I went to Vietnam. Gotta admit, this trip was quite different from some of the other trips that I've been on. There wasn't any 80-mile track like the last trip that I went on. Doesn't mean that this wasn't an amazing trip though. This trip, there were two main segments. One of them was the historical phase, in which we'd visit museums, check out history of Vietnam and the Vietnam War, and the other, which was about adventures. Like when we went to Cat Ba Island, explored Phan Nha, and did a little hiking and cave exploring, and even some of the tours that we did. Let's start off by talking about some of the historical things we did during this trip. We went on several tours during the duration of the trip, in which we got to see some very interesting historical sites. For me, I'd have to say one of the most memorable sites that we saw was when we did a daily tour out of Hue to go visit the Khe Sanh battlefields, the parallel line between North and South Vietnam, and some of the tunnels that people went through to hide during the Vietnam War. Even in some of our other tours though, we got to see some important places that play a very big part in Vietnamese history. And some of us even got to go to the Vietnam War Museum. Personally, I'd say that was one of my favorite displays of the Vietnam War history, as I thought it was very interesting to see how the war was from their perspective. The other main part of our trip included adventures, like I mentioned before, in Cat Ba Island and Phan Nha, where we did hiking and cave exploring and climbing. In my opinion, the best day was when we went out to Cat Ba Island and got to climb. I mean, that was seriously some of the best rock that I've ever climbed on. And in the afternoon, we got to do some canoeing, and it was quite an adventure, with some otherworldly views on top.
Great, doing great. Oh wow.
And some of us got to do water soloing, which was a very fun and unique experience. Also, like a week before, we had some amazing adventures in Phan Nha. We got to hike next to some incredible landscapes, camp in such a nice campsite where we got fed food, and we got to explore some of the most incredible caves that I've ever seen. During the duration of this trip, we also did a lot of cool activities in some of the cities that we stayed in, like going out to explore the night markets, trying food around town, exploring some of the cool features that were there. And for me personally, some of my favorite part of this trip was getting to hang out around town while we were in the city, which I thought was really chill. In conclusion, getting to travel to a foreign nation that is different from your hometown, well, I feel like just gives you a lot of context around how the world works, which is something that unfortunately a lot of people don't experience, as they tend to be very much within their own country and their own customs. I think that that's something really special about Rome's, is having that experience of going to another country, getting to relate to how life works there, just really expands your knowledge of the world, which I think that this trip did quite a bit for me. I thought seeing the culture of Vietnam was very interesting. And the reason that I got this experience was because of Rome's.